Good morning. Sunday, March 8th, 2026. Another fine morning at the cemetery. Dale's already at it. Time change just happened last night, so I feel like I'm an hour behind. It's really green up here, and it's like a lot of clover. The grass has a lot of roughage to it, but it's going to mow up real nice. The trees are looking sharp. Got to go ahead and get the flag up so everybody knows what side we're on. Also, got to thinking that I'm going to ask Lynn Spalletta if I can get access to her property and start cleaning out the willows that surround the bell tower. We've just kind of been tolerating them and, managing stuff for a while. Now, after the cleanup, when a bell tower was originally built, there were no willows surrounding it, and now there's a lot. So I think it would look really nice if we could trim those back, kind of get rid of them over the next year, and it would be a really good Bloomfield project. I like those. There he goes. This time of year things are growing really quick, so we're up here every other weekend, so we kind of have to get on it to make it look nice in a couple hours. So we hit the curb appeal first, which is good for momentum. Usually I take the road. I got 3 blades on this mower, 56-inch deck. Dale's got 2 blades on his unit. And his deck is 42-inch, and he can fit into tighter spots between headstones. Well, we got some real thick stuff going on here. It's nice. First couple laps, I like to just look around, check to make sure structurally everything looks good. On the west fence line. On days when we can get a fair amount of things done, we can get the grass mowed and trimmed early, and that leaves us with enough energy to do something special or unusual. It's just 2 weeks and we're here last, and already things are growing so quick. And I'm also hoping at some point that we can have a drone. Get one of those so we can have it just flying overhead and
when we're working a specific site, it'll stay stationary overhead, and it also has the ability to track us as we're moving around. It can follow overhead, but it just adds another dimension to the work that we do around here. I was so impressed last year. It's not been 2 years now. But there was a gentleman up here in the cemetery with his drone, and it was on a day similar to the greenery. There were raised guys. So I asked him if he would mind sharing the video of his drone, and he did that, and he edited it, accompanied it with music and everything before he sent it to me. I've used that drone footage so many times because it helps lend a fuller story talking about specific sites and people, to be able to show the aerial of where exactly the family or person is located here in the cemetery. That's going to be really helpful. I'd love to have the same thing over at Bluefield. Obviously, with the Google satellite image, that's one thing, but to have a drone footage, the quality would be even better. So, I worked with a designer from my printing business, and I had him lay the old property maps on top of the current Google photo to see exactly where things were located back in the day. And that's been really interesting to see, but I want to get it to where I can clearly have the outline of the 1867 map laid right on top, fit perfectly with today's full-colored, Google Earth image, or whatever, the drone equivalent of that is. So it's easy to compare 1867 to today, and where things are at. Anything that is still in the same exact location, where the property lines are at, specifically for the Methodist Church. The Methodist Church is located in center field originally when it was established in 1857. And when it was sold off at auction in 1866. At that point, the temperance the arrangement of the building was the church utilized the ground floor. They have half ownership. The Masons occupied at one quarter interest, and they would utilize the top floor. I guess they would utilize the bottom floor when they had social activities. And Good Templars, the International Order of Good Templars, occupied another quarter. So even though it was never published about when the building came up for auction, if it was Good Templars or if the Masons purchased the Methodist interest in it, but it's kind of easy to go that direction because the building is always going to be shared. And after that, I noticed it was the Good Templars. After the Masons got their own lodge, it was the Good Templars who were paying 100% of the tax bill on that building. But it would be cool with the 1867 map. Everything was laid out. They measured it, so from corner to corner, it would be pretty easy to stretch a line, tape measure, and figure out exactly where the property boundary line for the first Methodist church was at in center field, and stake it off and have a pretty good idea based on that. The map does show where the building is in terms of being laid out on the property. I could have a really good idea of exactly where the building is located. I don't know if there's any records of it, anything underground. I just know exactly where it was. It'd be interesting. Do a little probing down there just to check it out. I'm sure dirt has been moved around there somewhat, but it'd be cool to check it out. Also, for the Washington Hotel, it'd be nice to see if any of the buildings that are there today are original.
And blackberry. So we're going to chip away at it some today. It's a fabulous day looking down towards Stump. Anyway, in this pile here, last year when we had a burn day, there was barbed wire in this, and it was too hot for us to pull it out at the time, so
Tractor pulled that stuff out real good. It's just a matter of if there's any small bits. Ah, I see some. Yeah. I broke the valve stem down at the ball field. Oh, maybe last year. So I went ahead and got a replacement head. I don't think that's going to be a problem. Hopefully I don't hit my tripod with random debris. It'll be like shots fired. Fade to black. Nice. Uh-oh. That must have been a piece of wood, a pretty good sized piece of wood. Yeah. This is all starting to look really good. I want the contour to stay as it is, so that way we can tell where there are body burials back here. Nobody's on the map, the plot map. Yeah, we got 700 or 800 people buried up here, and about 500 of them are identified with good heads up. So this back section is a bit of a potter's field of sorts. People just passing through town. I keep thinking about that poor fellow who shot himself at Lefevre's Hotel that one morning, and he left his watch for the remuneration of services so he could be buried in the cemetery, and they did. That was where I learned the word remuneration. It didn't sound right to me, so fortunately I lived with a school teacher who could help me out with that one. I think his name was Mr. North. He got off the train in Valley Ford, got the Bluefield, paid for one night with Lefevre. Lefevre asked him if he wanted to prepay for breakfast. The guy said he'd make him a fine in the morning. He took a walk in the morning, probably came up to the cemetery, went back down to the hotel, walked through the hotel, out into the back patio, and shot himself. That story is listed on the Facebook page. You know, a lot of guys like him. Some took their own life, some had their life taken, and others just got wore out, and their time was up. They probably all got some kind of marker at one point, something made of wood, that probably lasted maybe 1 decade before Louisville had its way with it and took it back. Yeah, we already have a few close spots. And as we just keep mowing this get it clear and mow it some more, we'll start to see patterns every week. So we can pull string and know that certain burial sites there are some burial sites that really trouble me that we don't know where they're at. Isaac Buffalo and Lena Duffel. You know, the important people to the history of Bluefield. Got Horace Lamb, his daughter. Daughter was actually the first one who passed away. So she got placed up here before he donated the land. And their plot was listed to be plot number 1. That was the family, the Lamb family. Right now, that's where Hitchcock is at. So I'd like to think that Horace Lamb's family, for whatever reason, got placed on the west side of Hitchcock. I just hope there was no shenanigans going on that caused them to lose their forever place. There were Lamb family members who would pass away in the early 1900s, and they would be taken to the family burial plot at Brookville Cemetery. At least that's what the article said. But, you know, if there are 4 family members here, including our town's first postmaster, Horace Lamb, by golly, we ought to have that acknowledged. And not just a little bit, equally as big as Hollis Hitchcock. That would be. Yeah, I'm sure there are some folks who don't. It's not as important to them that they get the notoriety. You know, a lot of these folks probably imagined that nobody would think of them after they were gone. You know, 1 generation down line, maybe 2 generations down line, there wouldn't be anybody left who would care about who they were, what they did. Yeah, I care. You know, I don't know how it is for other people. It's like once I get into the history of something, especially a hometown, you know, a lot of stuff doesn't matter. All those people who came before us. Oh man, that's fancy. Wow. Gotta be like mid-70s today. Quite comfortable. Wow. Lots and lots of noise there. I went all the way up to the north corner where that big tree with the steps were at. A lot of you can relate to that. If you grew up in this town, there's a chance you climbed that tree a time or two. Yeah, there used to be a rope swing on there. And that swing would swing out over the steep drop off. So you would go from like ground level to feeling like you're 50 feet off the ground in no time. Create a little bit of feeling of desperation. The white crabapple on top of the hill where the water tank used to be is in full bloom. It's about half white bloom and half green leaves. Looking real good. That tree endures a lot sitting on top of that hill. Alright, coming in, I think I'll move the camera.
This is how we take care of all the stuff.
A little bit at a time. The place closed up real nice today. The string trimming, there's so much of it that needs to be done, but it's hard to kind of allocate time. What out of the 20 things we should be doing? But we just chug along. If Lynn's will let me get in to clear out the willows on that property around the bell tower. I'll probably just stay up here for a night or two while I'm working on it. Get it all cut up and bring the skid steer in to load up the bucket, take all that, the willow out of there. Every time I see the picture of how nice the bell tower was without the willows around it, makes you want to get right in there and take care of it. One thing about mowing, it sure gives a person time to think. Seems a lot of stuff I think about is improvement. You know what can be done? What can we do? What shall we do? Stuff like that. Pretty cool deal having photos of the folks here in the cemetery. I can picture them in my mind's eye whenever I'm mowing around them. what their life was like, where they lived, what they did. So I'm glad all that information will always be there, as long as no one jams up Facebook for everybody. Yeah, that would be a nightmare if that something happened to that. I have another piece of wire. 2L. Take that up to the Patterson drain side. Where I got all the others sitting right now. Yeah. Turn the camera around. I was not edging into this pile. It's been a while since it was cleaned out. So I'm hoping that I remember it accurately as to what is in there. That would be nice. Yeah, I don't like that one. Gotta run over these lines so they don't tear me up. Alright, got some wood there. Oh yeah, sure enough. Got some big stumps in there. Yeah, probably from the bell tower. We brought all that debris, a lot of it up here. Yeah. Pretty harsh work. Every now and then, blackberry line gets me. I guess that's fair. Lawnmower, wood chipper, go kart. Yeah. Was able to get that barbed wire out of there. There's still some pretty good pieces of wood, some stumps, big branches in there. I'll get those some other day. Wire. Fence line looking good. Trees looking real healthy. Both of them. The north fence line. They have a lot of string trimming. And this time of year, it's so difficult to do that. We would have to be up here all day to string trim. Unfortunately, our cars would fall off if we did that. We put our ramps kind of teeter-totter on the concrete curbs, so that way we can get the tractors up in to these race sites.